Season 98-99 was probably the most successful in St Johnstone's history. Third in the Premier, a Scottish Cup semi-final, League Cup finalists, and beating local rivals Dundee on the last day of the season to qualify for Europe. Life doesn't get better than this for a Saintie. But earlier in the season, the club faced upheaval when Paul Sturrock returned to Dundee United and was replaced by Sandy Clark, who arrived from Hamilton.
You know, I come into the job here and I'm looking at guys' names and I'm saying to myself, I don't have a clue who these guys are. Guys like Alan Kernigan, who was a £1 million player, I'd heard the name but didn't know him, didn't know where he played. Jerry McMahon's another one, Irish internationalist, didn't have a clue who he was. Nathan Lowndes, who Paul had signed just weeks before, no idea who he was. And that went right through the team. I knew guys like Paul Keane and Roddy Grant and Alan Preston, guys that had been in the Scottish team for a long time. But there was a lot of them that I really didn't know. And Miguel was the one who had absolutely no idea who he was.
Portuguese under-21 star Miguel Simão had signed only a week before and had returned to Portugal to collect his belongings. When he returned to Scotland, he was in for a shock.
And I arrived at the airport and know Paul Sturrock and Sandy Clark, you know, and I'm really scared at the time at the beginning because at the time I know Sandy and Sandy Clark don't know me and maybe don't like my football, or you know.
And to be fair, early on I left them out. I didn't play them because I felt I had to go with guys that I knew had done the business in the Premier League. And he was out for a few weeks, but to credit to him, he actually worked very, very hard and won me over, and he's been a good player for us all season.
Hard work and team spirit ran through a squad determined to improve on the previous season. Players like under-21 star Fizzy Scott had to impress their new manager.
I didn't know anything about it until the Wednesday. I think he left on the Wednesday. We were out there training as normal and he just came in and says, listen, it's been done, he's away to Dundee United. But to be fair, I think I had a good effect on us with Sandy coming in, because he gave everybody a huge lift. It's like signing a new player. And obviously his ways were different to what Paul's were, and it actually worked.
Sandy Clark's initiation was to be dramatic. Only days after being appointed, his team came up against First Division Hibs, who were out to prove that they deserved a Premier place. But Alan Kernigan was immense.
I took the job on the Sunday with a training session on the Sunday. I actually had a practice match on McDermott. We trained on Monday, and like at Olympia, you're up against Hibs in the quarter-final of the Cup come Tuesday. And credit to our players, from day one working with me, they've been marvellous. And I think one of the reasons we've had a good season is the fact that we got off to a great start. And that night, it wasn't a pleasant night. It was a bit wet and windy, but the lads worked really hard, and it was a fairy tale start for us.
Republic of Ireland internationalist Alan Kernigan was immense throughout the season. Hibs had brought a huge support and they travelled high on hope, but they were home by half-time. Saints turned on the style. Every player got a touch. And the first goal for the club by a new signing. His name, Nathan Lowndes. Although they didn't know it at the time, Hibs were in for a hiding. If it was quality football you were looking for, Saints had it in spades. It was a great night for another internationalist, this time Northern Ireland's Jerry McMahon. Nothing seemed to go wrong that night. A rare Hibs attack was repelled, and the ball rolled out to a former Hibbie, Paul Kane, who was about to haunt his old club. And the ball found new signing, Nat Lowndes. The end result was inevitable, and the St Johnstone website that night crowned him with a new nickname, Nat King Goals. For Hibernian FC, it was a total nightmare. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Here comes the fourth goal. But this time round, Nathan Lowndes isn't the scorer, he's the provider. He chips the ball through to John Del Boy O'Neill, who chips the keeper. Lovely jubbly, that was immense.
Well, Hibs got a superb support that night, and I think they were looking to turn the corner. They were on the run of bad results, but credit to our lads and credit to the gaffer. He got the lads motivated for the game. It was 4-0 going on 6 or 7. His first game in, that gave him a lot of confidence, and the team built on that, and went from strength to strength.
Sainties drew their next league match against Dunfermline 1-1, and their growing confidence was tested to the limit in their next 2 fixtures. First, Aberdeen at home, and then a daunting match against champion Celtic at Parkhead. In the game against Aberdeen, Nathan Lowndes was on fire. The former Watford striker opening the scoring against Scottish internationalist Jim Leighton. In the second half, Nathan Lowndes was at it again, leaving the Aberdeen defence in his wake. But this time, he'd left his shooting boots in the dressing room. But the second goal was a cracker. A new craze had started at the Perth club, chipping the keeper from a distance. This time, Jerry beats Jim. A match at Celtic Park is never easy. The intimidating sight of 60,000 hostile fans can overwhelm some players. But for the Saints team members, playing Celtic had become a fixture to look forward to.
I think you've got to go through these experiences, and they spent 3 years in the first division, so they didn't really play Celtic that often that they could get into the habit of beating them. I think we beat them first the season before, we beat them first time here in 27 years. And once you get that feeling and you get hungry for it, you want it more. And the more you do it, the more you get to believe in it.
And when you've played against the mighty Brazil, nothing phases you. The first goal came from Canadian internationalist Nick Dazovic, and it was a beezer. Not bad for a Canadian heavy metal fan. In fact, it was that good, let's see it again. And when Saints fans look back on the glory season in years to come, we'll all pay tribute to the keeper, Alan Main. But just because the keeper was great, don't believe for a second it was one-way traffic at Parkhead. Check this out from Kano. And the rebound from Celtic fan John O'Neill. Did I say Celtic fan? This was the season that Henrik Larsson was voted Scotland's Player of the Year. He started a move. Alan Stubbs thought he'd finished it, but Alan Main knew different. Yes, it's Scotland's #1. 10 days later, Saints dominated at Tynecastle against Hearts. George O'Boyle came close. But when Saints needed a goal, it came from Alan Biscuits Preston. They say he crumbles in the box. Dream on. Biscuits, biscuits, give us a goal. Saints were hungry to get back to winning ways. Motherwell were unlucky enough to be next. The Saints squad was gelling into an impressive attacking machine. It was all set up for a famous night against Hearts, and the first cup final in 30 years was calling. Former Hearts boss Sandy Clark was plotting their downfall.
Paul was very tactically aware. He'd go out to try and stop the other team playing, and obviously try and go and win the game as well. But Sandy, it's all about St Johnstone. It's always all about us going forward, trying to win. And to be fair, I think his man management's a lot superior to what Paul's was. I think he's got the best out of the boys.
It was absolutely brilliant. It was a magnificent, period in time for us all, and it came fairly quickly after myself coming to Perth. The first game, the 4-0 against Hibs, and then we went to Easter Road to play Hearts in the semi-final a few weeks later, and that was the club I'd worked at before. So I personally would, we're looking for a bit of revenge there for the way that things had happened, and we had a brilliant result, a magnificent performance to win 3-0 at Easter Road.
Guerin tried to swing that away across to the left. Preston to Boland. Oh, Ritchie just getting in the front. That's a bit of ball to Samar. The Portuguese player could open the scoring bell. McPherson rather slack. He took his eye off it. O'Neill going for the 1-2. Beautiful move. It must be no. Great save. Back it goes again to Dasovic. He can't stop that one. The Canadian international caps the best moments of the game for St Johnstone, and the brilliance of a French goalkeeper was fully exposed that time when his save brilliantly saved Hearts, and then no chance with this. Here's Samar, gets it away, 1 minute extra, given time to bring that down again. Preston, there's Gary Boland going on the left-hand side. Preston letting fly with an that's a magnificent goal! Alan Preston, who previously scored against Hearts in the last game, and as I said, he was a Hearts supporter as a boy, but you'll feel no anguish about the way that went in, like a projectile. Superb. Weir is up. By Kernahan. There's Kane. Beautiful play by Kane again. Oh, Preston delayed that. Dasovic, he had a boil away across on the other side. Lowndes with it. Well, at 2 goals up, all they need to do is hold on to the ball. That was a distinct opportunity. Good run through to Lowndes. Boyle's inside, and there it is. That's it. St Johnstone are in the final without the slightest doubt, and that was a clean, clinical goal, which I think typifies and summarises their superiority.
After that overwhelming victory, St Johnstone were drawn against Rangers in the final. Despite losing a goal after only 6 minutes, Saints fought back and refused to give in.
Dasovic, oh, it's a great equaliser! The Canadian international out of the blue. That's so reminiscent of the goal he scored against Hearts in the semi-final.
I think the one reason we didn't win the League Cup was the fact that we were inexperienced at that level. Going to play Rangers is a daunting task for any club in Europe, really, not just in the Premier League in Scotland. And they're awesome when they play well. And to be fair, we did okay against them that day. But I think with a wee bit more belief, we just might have got a result. And hopefully we can get the chance to do that again in the future.
Back in the Premier League, the second meeting of the teams who would eventually fight for a place in Europe took place in October, down at Rugby Park. Although the 2-2 result was looked upon as a disappointment by Saints fans, the game itself brought one of the contenders for goal of the season, from substitute Nathan Lowndes. There's
Kane in with it, and it's in! Dodds comes up to finish it off. Well, he's been doing that so well at the other end of defence, and maybe the logic was that he'd be there when the opportunity fell, and he was. No side, and O'Boyle finds himself in isolation on that right-hand side. Nobody was coming up with him quickly enough. They're there now, all right. And there's almost a touch by Samar. Neat little turn-by ball. In fact, he fought very well for that. He's got to lay it off well, and he does to Kane. He must shoot from there. He almost put it away. Good play by Hamilton. Durant, ball just going beyond him. Beautiful turn there by O'Boyle. O'Neill going right through the middle. And here's Lowndes. He's going in for it himself, and he puts it away for the second goal, and superbly struck.
However, the blackest moment in a great season came only 2 weeks later when St Johnstone lost 7-0 to Rangers. It was a result that could have demoralised a lesser team, but Sandy Clark was determined that would not happen at McDermott Park.
Yeah, it was a hard one to take for everyone at the club. You know, 7-0 is embarrassing, apart from anything else. It's live on Sky, so it's going all over Britain. What we did at that, we looked the next day at the tape. I watched it when I went home, you know, got in for punishment, I think. But I watched it and I looked really closely at the game, and we didn't play that badly. That's the ludicrous thing about it. We were suddenly 2-0 down, and we were as good as Rangers for the first 20 minutes or so of the game. And the only way I could prove that to the guys was to show them the next day. So we sat down and we watched it. The goals we lost weren't great, but on equal, you know, an outfield play, it was fairly even. Paul Kane gets sent off in an instant where it was a penalty, but he might not have been sent off on another day. Rangers got another penalty in the game. You know, we're obviously down to 10 men. We missed one or two chances, but we didn't do that badly, daft as it sounds. And I think that came across to the players once I explained it to them, showed them it, you know, on the tape of the game. And on the Saturday after that, we played Celtic at McDermott again. And if you ever want to test the character, that was it that day.
In from Bullen, and that's a great effort from Nick Dazovic, and a good stop by Tony Warner. That's for Grant, not with the pace to beat Reset, although he was giving it his all, and wins a free kick for St Johnstone. And so a set piece, this might be the last bit of action in the first half. What can St Johnstone make of it? Kieran McAnespie is over the ball. And it was a chance for Kernaghan! And it's in! Simeo for St Johnstone! 5 minutes of stoppage time played! St Johnstone take the lead. Ronnie Grant's hard work in winning the free kick rewarded, fired in by McAnespie, knocked into the box by Alan Kernaghan, and the final touch was applied by Miguel Simeo. It's good play from Simeo, did well to win that back. Long ball from Darren Dodds, mix up between Mahi and Reset, and Vidar Reset has given it away! It's a blunder by Reset, and Kieran McAnespie scores. 12 minutes of the 90 left, Reset hangs his head. A basic mistake made here. Firstly, confusion between Mahi and Reset. But Reset looked as if he'd made up for it, won the ball back, fired it across, only to find the head of McAnespie.
Our lads really, they come through that exceptionally well, and I remember the goals well. Miguel scores the first one, and Kieran McAnespie, a great header at the back post from a magnificent cross from Roussetti Celtic, which was one of the highlights of the season for us. And really, that was a magnificent test, and that was you know, one of the reasons why I knew that we had something here that wasn't too bad.
There were many reasons for Saints' success, but one of them was the closeness of a squad that liked to celebrate in style. None more so than the legend, Roddy Grant. The spirit of the squad was reinforced by days out when management team Sandy Clark and Billy Kirkwood took the players socialising to escape from the pressures of the league.
It certainly works. I mean, the nights out are good. I think everybody's got to go to the nights out when it has them, and obviously himself and Billy Kirkwood come along. And I think everything's done together. There's a good togetherness at the club. Everybody gets on with each other, so I think it's a good base to start from.
Oh, great. I mean, some of the great nights we've had, and it would definitely take it from there onto the park, and it definitely helps throughout the week. The banter that goes on between the boys is unbelievable, and it's great that the manager can actually mix in as well. Some managers can't do that, but Sandy Clark can, and I think that adds to the happy atmosphere that we've got at the club.
He's always one for socialising and coming along, and you know, and once you've had 2 or 3 pints inside you, you know, you can certainly let him know the truth of what you think of him, or he can let you know the same, and it's good because at the end of the day, the guys are all getting together and having a good time as well.
You've got to have an escape in football. You've got to get away from the pressure, probably of every kind of working job. And we often do that together, and it doesn't do us any harm at all. The lads behave themselves, and I would like to think that Kirky and I are just two of the boys when we go out. We're probably the two that cause most problems when we go out. But that's part of the team building, the spirit that we have, and to me it can only be a good thing for us.
By this time the spirit was flowing. It was a happy new year for Saints, but not for Aberdeen. It all started with a penalty. And the man who scored was Bobo. St Johnstone's rugged fullback, Gary Boland. In a famous match in 1990, Saints beat Aberdeen 5-0. This time the Dons were on form. They kept us to 4. Wearing his trademark black gloves, Alan Kernahan got the second. The third came from a flyboy double act, Paddy Connolly, and then on to John O'Neill. This is only going one place, and it's in the back of the net. And the final goal came from that man again, Del Boy, John O'Neill. Another bad day out for the Dons.
Well, United have a very loyal band of supporters there. They've been struggling this season, and Grant gets a penalty for that. Now the ex-Dundee United player with that tremendous shot. Up he comes. Yeah, straight in.
Although St Johnstone were still winning games, their main rivals Kilmarnock had at one stage a lead of 10 points. But the Saints' confidence was growing, and they knew that it was only a matter of time before that gap was narrowed.
By the time we got to about Christmas time, I think we were, you know, a fair bit behind Kilmarnock, maybe 8 or 9 points. I'm not sure the exact total. But that was continually, and that was one of the motivation factors we had in the dressing room. I kept saying, if we get to the last 2 or 3 games hanging on beside Kilmarnock and capable of catching them, then that's got to be our aim, that's our challenge.
Training sessions down the inch got tougher as the challenge shifted from league to cup. St Johnstone met Livingston after overcoming Forfar.
We played Forfar here in the first round, and really that was the horrendous one. That was the bad one. We got through 1-0 when John O'Neill scored, and then we went to Livingston after that, who'd beat Aberdeen the previous round. And I think people tipped Livingston to beat us that day, but I think we showed that we knew what we were talking about. We were well organised, and the thing we had that day was very much a professional attitude, and we went on to get a good solid result.
Looking for Lowndes, good cross in from Nathan Lowndes. Good defending again by McManus. Paul Kane with a driven shot, he can strike them from there. Good Good turn by Lowndes this time, gets away from Watson, thinks about the shot, turns inside, still Lowndes, drives it in, the break of the ball falls for Roddy Grant, and St Johnstone take the lead. 19 minutes gone, and Roddy Grant gets his 4th goal of the season. Hesitated with the shot, eventually got it in with the right foot, stabbed it in, and Grant was quick to react. Lowndes again. Right in the corner, good cross coming in, and a fine header from Philip Scott. Great save from Neil Alexander. Kernahan, forward looking again for Grant. There's O'Neill. Up against Dees, gets the cross in, Grant's there again with a header, comes off the crossbar, back to Philip Scott, and he rattles in the rebounds. 5 minutes from half-time, St Johnstone go 2-0 in front. Philip Scott, the man who sends the St Johnstone fans into raptures. He strikes forward again. Links with Lowndes. Lowndes the back flick to Scott. Scott gets away from McManus. Cross too close to the goalkeeper for a good challenge. Was it over the line? Yes, as referee Stuart Dougal. The solid challenge coming in from Roddy Grant. And he gets his 2nd of the afternoon. As referee Stuart Dougal ends this tie as a contest. St Johnstone through to the quarter-finals.
Our opponents in the next round were Motherwell. Hopes were high. We'd scored 7 against them in the last 2 encounters.
Owen looking at the options down the line. Lowndes got the flick, chance for Roddy Grant, saved by Gorham. The best chance of the match so far, saved at point-blank range by Gorham. John Spencer finding some room. Lee McCulloch, Spencer again. Beyond Derek Adams, Ian Ross. Good play from Ross, and a chance for Adams. Kernahan making an appearance in the opposition penalty box. Darren Dodds as well. In from Kane, knocked away by Andy Gorham. He's in trouble though, and rescued on the goal line by Sean Teal. An in-swinger coming up from Gary Boland. And a chance for Darren Dodds. 6 yards out. McMillan wins the corner kick. He took a touch off Steve McMillan. Bit of spit and polish on the hands for Andy Gorham. Gary Bullen's corner kick! And Darren Dodds for St Johnstone. 17 minutes left. And the St Johnstone supporters celebrate. There'll be a big inquest in the Motherwell defence about the lack of marking here. Look at the room afforded there to Darren Dodds to bury the header behind Andy Gorham. 10 minutes to go. And Simeo has a break on here for St Johnstone. Roddy Grant. Deflected, and in comes Simeo! And that's surely the goal which takes St Johnstone to the Cup semi-finals.
Miguel's goal past Andy Gorham was to signal our last victory in the Scottish Cup campaign. Saints lost to Rangers in the semi-final. For old Saints diehards, it reawakened memories of the old days at Muirton Park in another epic cup clash against the Ibrox Giants.
Johnston. Lovely ball inside. Dawson. That must be, yes.
In front of a noisy crowd of over 17,000, Rangers were shooting to the town end at the old Muirton Park. And sadly, in 36 minutes, they went into a 2-goal lead. Saints were on a princely £200 a man to beat John Gregg's side. They beat the offside trap first, and Jim Docherty earned his cash. Then Saints goal machine John Brogan came next.
That's a good ball again to Brogan. That's it! The equaliser.
Teenage sensation Ali McCoy's chipped the Rangers' wall, and in the ensuing goalmouth scramble, John Brogan got number 3.
There's McCoy. He makes heavy weather of it. It's a goal.
But a bitter twist of fate came late in the game when Saints fan Ian Redford scored the equaliser against his hometown team.
He's gone. Redford has saved Rangers.
For Saints fans that had grown up in the European glory days watching Henry Hall and John Connolly, Muirton Park was home. But by the mid-80s, it was no longer economically viable to stay at the ground that had been a Saints shrine since Christmas Day 1924.
In 1986, the limit was reduced to 2,000 people. We had to work to try and get that limit lifted to 5,000 with a cup tie against Aberdeen.
When Geoff Brown took over as chairman, Saints were in the doldrums. He realised that Britain's first purpose-built all-seater stadium was the only solution for the ambitious Perth club.
We then had to identify a site that we could move the football club to, and this basically was the site identified. So this went on from 86 and bringing everything together. We started the building of it in October of 88, and we moved in July of 89. And probably the greatest achievement of that was that when I took over St Johnstone, I had somewhere in the region of 300,000 in debt at the bottom end of the second division. And when all this deal was done, we had a new stadium and we had some money, and all that, we had some money in the bank, and we moved here, and within one season of moving here, we're in the Premier League.
Goal scorers like Roddy Grant will always be revered, but St Johnstone has a goalkeeper whose ability and performances during the season were exceptional.
In for Viduka. McNamara. Brilliant save, Alan Main. Superb reflexes here to deny McNamara what would have been his first goal of the season.
And Chelsea's might think about a shot here, left foot drive, breaks, there's Johansson. Great save by Alan Main.
Alan had some real blinders, and with 18 shutouts he eventually forced himself into the Scotland squad, but he realises how important that defensive players can be.
I think John Blackley's got a lot to say for that as well. Obviously he left with Paul, and he sort of built up the defence, myself in the defence, brought in a few different players, Alan Kernigan, you know, we missed Jim Weir last year through injury, Darren Dodds came in and did really well, and obviously Gary Bowen came into the team through injury to Alan Preston. So a very stable back four, a lot of pace in the back four, and it's good understanding of myself, and that's really important, I think.
There's a decoy run, Madison shaping up, tries to curl it, good save by Alan Main.
At the opposite end of the park, Saints had a spread of goal scorers. 19 players scored that season, including this perler from Fizzy Scott. Great goal from midfield, but did they need a striker?
I think if you look at the goals scored, I think the top goal scorer was 6. But the guys like defenders on 4, midfielders on 5, so as you say, the goals were sort of shared about the place. But it just shows the confidence everybody's got to get up the park, that they sort of put the ball in the net.
I think last season I was the only one that never scored, you know, and I mean that's excellent for everybody to be on the score sheet, you know. Obviously it'd be good to have somebody who's going to score you 20 goals, but these players cost a lot of money, and unfortunately I don't think St Johnstone have got the money to go and buy maybe a £1-2 million player. So everybody's got to muck in, and excellent that everybody did last year.
I think it's credit to Roddy and the rest of the guys who play up front that there's no point in taking somebody for the sake of taking them. They've got to make us a better team. and if I kind of get somebody that's better than what we have, then we can't be doing too badly. So from a football manager's point of view, I couldn't care less who scores as long as we win the games, and that's the way that it panned out.
In past seasons, Roddy Grant had scored with ease, but plagued by injury, he was in and out of the team. But Roddy knows what a derby match against Dundee means to Saints fans, and he was always up for the big one. It all started with Kano. Then Daza got in on the act. And when the ball came back into the box, there was the legend, Roddy Grant. Dundee, bye-bye. But suddenly, when we least expected it, Saints went off the boil, losing to Kilmarnock, then Dunfermline. The ambition of returning to Europe for the first time since 1971 looked as if it was slipping away. And to make matters worse, the next game was to be against Rangers, who were storming towards another victory in the Championship. But Kieran McInnesby and his Saints teammates were determined. The multi-million-pound Rangers team were up against a Saints side whose spirit was strong. They were determined to prove their worth against the Ibrox men.
I don't think anyone expects St Johnstone to take anything from this match this evening, despite their home advantage. St Johnstone, the home side, not favoured this evening because Rangers have won all three of the previous Premier League meetings, and of course that victory last year in the League Cup final. Well, the early pressure coming from St Johnstone. And this is the perfect start for them to try and put some pressure on. There's Kloss getting caught out, cleared away by Kanchelskis. On the home side, proving that they're up for this match. Certainly a great atmosphere inside McDermott Park. And Rangers very much on the back foot at the moment. Well, the ball played in, Roddy Grant once again causing all sorts of problems. Stephen Kloss was absolutely nowhere there. Here's Neil McCann. Wallace looking for McCann again, he might go himself. Wallace using McCann, a chance to stretch the Saints' defence. Some trickery by the Scotland international. There's Wallace, great save by Alan Main. Wonderful save by Alan Main. Rod Wallace trying to add to his goal tally. Again, McCann showing some quick thinking, putting it into the box, and a good save by Alan Main. Well, that's going to be an interesting battle this evening. Captain Lorenzo Amoruso against Roddy Grant. And Rangers have to defend again. And Stephen Kloss hasn't been too clever in the last two set pieces. A lot of movement. There's the head flick, and it's a goal for St Johnstone! Jim Weir has given St Johnstone the perfect start after 13 minutes.
For Jim Weir, the game was truly emotional. After months out through injury, Jim was back. The big defender is a fan in a Saints strip, and to score against Rangers was dream time.
It's amazing, some people still talk about it just now, you know, friends that I haven't seen for a while. I've been playing senior football for 14 years, and all everyone seems to now mention is the goal against Rangers. No, I mean, it was something, a memory that will live with me to the day I die. You know, to come back in that game, I still wasn't quite right. Up against Neil McCann and up against the best team in Scotland at that time, obviously. And to score the first goal and go on and win the game live on television was unbelievable. And my brother had a few quid on as well for the first goal.
And again, it's St Johnstone coming away with the ball. Here's Grant. Here's a chance for Roddy Grant, and a goal! Could be 2-0. What a chance for Roddy Grant! Yet another set piece. What can St Johnstone create from this? Kloss looking anxiously. McInnesby with the ball in. Up goes Dasovic, heads it down, nobody there. There's a chance again, Sameo, it's in the net! Miguel Sameo has scored for St Johnstone! Yet another set piece, and St Johnstone are back in front by 2-1. Well, Rangers Rangers in complete disarray. McAnespie, it looked as if the ball was going towards the touchline, put in by Grant, and all Miguel Sameo did was guide it towards goal with his chest. Now what's the delivery like? It's all the way to the back. Alberts trying to get it onto the left. Here comes the drive. Lennon's trying to clear it. He's going to be caught out. Sameo, it's one-on-one. Kanchelskis against Sameo. And on the overlap, this is a chance for St Johnstone to seal the victory. McAnespie's got a chance. It's a goal for St Johnstone. 3-1. Game over.
The famous night against Rangers showed the true team spirit of Perth St Johnstone. The closeness of the squad is one of the key factors in the team's success and exists at all levels of the club.
No, I think in the last couple of seasons, that's one thing that's always been at the forefront, has been the spirit of the team. And not just the team, as a club as a whole. I mean, I've been at other clubs where it's big business now, football, and you tend to disappear. There's that many people going about that you forget people's names, you don't know them. But this club, they still retain the family atmosphere, and it's been installed by the chairman, and it goes right down to Agnes, and when you see the people coming through the desk, you know their names and that, and it's absolutely great.
I adapt quickly, seeing St Johnstone, because a player's always like a family, you know, is always a group closed, and it's more easy for a people comes, and I'm a Portuguese, I don't speak senior good English anyway, but I think always the support with everybody, people, I think is okay. No.
The great thing about Paul Sturrock and Sandy, it's no case of, no, it's us and them, and we don't want to be part of one another. And at the end of the day, I'm a great believer that people ought to be working with you. They shouldn't be always seen as working for you. If they work for you, they just want to have a go at you. If they work with you, you've got a chance.
The league campaign faltered again, this time against Hearts, with another frustrating no-score draw. Time and fixtures were running out for Saints when they met Dundee United in a horrendous night at Tannadice. With a huge travelling support behind them, it was make or break time for Saints. Kieran McAnespie raised the pulse. With the rain lashing down on top of him, Miguel Eusebio Simao came up against a tough Dundee United defence. From the resulting free kick, Saints Northern Ireland international Danny Griffin put the Saints fans in Wonderland. The run-in for third place was now at a critical stage. The next opponents were Celtic, who were determined to destroy Rangers' bid for the championship, but they had to come to Perth to face their bogey team, St Johnstone, at a packed McDermott Park, and Saints were up for this one.
Powerfully cleared by Vidar Resets. Viduka putting pressure on Weir. Good turn from Mark Viduka. The ball in though, didn't live up to the build-up. Rescued for Celtic by Jackie McNamara. Craig Burley's shot, saved by Alan Main. Bowen to Simao. Deflected to Keith O'Halloran. And O'Halloran scores for St Johnstone. 9 minutes into the second half. A touch of good fortune about this one, undoubtedly for St Johnstone, but O'Halloran was brave. Won the header well. Simao found some room. It was a dangerous ball into the box. And the header from O'Halloran crashed behind Kerr. The ball from Griffin, picking out Simao. O'Halloran's with him. In from Keane. O'Neill's touch. And now Dasovic. In from Simon Donnelly. Cleared by Danny Griffin. That's full time. It's the St Johnstone supporters and manager Sandy Clark who are celebrating. They keep up their pursuit of third place. They keep up their pursuit of European football next season. The Celtic heads are hung because this has been a bad day for them. This could well be the day that the title has gone.
A great victory had not only helped their league position, but meant that St Johnstone had taken 12 points from the Old Firm during the season and had beaten league champion Celtic 3 times.
That's not particularly unusual. Each year we've been in the Premier League, we beat Celtic, and they're just all noises made about to beat them. I think it should be remembered that there have been 3 Celtic managers sacked after St Johnstone beat them in recent times, so that's no unusual.
As Perth nerves began to fray, Saints supporters had to put the celebrations on hold when their team lost to Aberdeen, then drew with Motherwell.
We had to take something from the game. Kilmarnock got the 3 points that was hit. They had the third place. We were out it for a long spell. I think at one point we were 10 points behind. And certainly the turning point for me was the Celtic game here when we managed to beat Celtic, kill off their championship hopes, and obviously Kilmarnock losing up at Dundee. And suddenly we were back in the hunt. And going down to Kilmarnock, I always felt the boys would do well down there.
We really were short of players. Like Jim Weir, our captain, was out most of the season, and Jim's an inspirational character. He's really an important part of our team. Darren Dodds dislocated his shoulder. Alan Kiernan struggled on for a long time with a hernia problem, but eventually had to give into it. So towards the end of the season, there's 3 players plus guys like George O'Boyle, who was out most of the season, Alan Preston, Roddy Grant. They were all out, and they were all very influential players on the pitch and in the dressing room. We worked very, very hard in the training ground to be as organised as we could be with younger players in the team. And to their credit, every one of them contributed really well to us and gave it all I asked for, which is their best shot, and they did that.
Well, they're missing Kernahan and Darren Dodds, of course, and they may be vulnerable for that kind of ball in there again. There's McGowan had come up for that. There's Samao. Well, at the moment, St Johnstone look as if they're being rushed off their feet. Here's the first counter-attack. Lowndes. Good play by Lowndes. Look at this opening here. Durant will get it across. Lovely ball. Good running forward by McPherson. That's a reasonable one into Roberts. Can he get his shot in? Oh, what a great goal!
Coming into the Kilmarnock game looking, well, they could do this kind of thing. But we dug in and got the result at Kilmarnock after playing not too hot on the first 25 minutes. We never really kicked a ball, but as we'd done it for the previous 34 games, we showed our true mettle and got the goal that counted to take us into the last game and give us a chance.
McPherson watching it very closely. Great place. Simon gets a touch. It's in the back of the net. No! Wonderful clears by Loughlin. Gives some support. The referee rightly weighs play on. Bit of affectation about that. Out comes Marshall. Ooh, that could be a goal. Is it coming up there? It just passed. He cannot believe it. Great effort there. Inside it goes, and there's a touch there. It must be Gary Bolin of all people. And no wonder the St Johnstone support have risen to their feet after so much frustration. The big defender comes into the box, perhaps most surprisingly of all, that he pops up exactly where he did. And St Johnstone certainly deserve this for the amount of possession they've had. McPherson. And there it goes, the final whistle.
That draw at Killie meant that the race for Europe would go to the wire. You couldn't have written the script. The final game was against old rivals, Dundee.
It was a very tense occasion because it was 28 years since the club had been in Europe. They knew what was at stake.
It was the same the year before. We were at home to Motherwell, and obviously they were away to Rangers. And we had to win. We do the business ourselves, and we hear that Kilmarnock scored 4 minutes into injury time, and it was a sickener. So it was a wee bit of revenge, certainly.
Into the danger area, knocked down by Danny Griffin, headed off the line. Dazovic blocked, Simao blocked again. Hugh Robertson that time. And finally Ian Anderson gets it clear. Good solid defending from Dundee, it had to be, as chances were popping up for St Johnstone. McInnesby, good shot, just too high. Faulkner has it. Lovely ball for James Grady. What a save, Alan Main. Unbelievable. This looked like the goal which would surely shatter St Johnstone's European hopes. Alan Main was flying in the wrong direction. Paul Kane shut down very quickly by Anderson, Robertson. Some room though for John McQuillan. John O'Neill makes himself available. Early ball in, what a chance! And a goal for Paul Kane! It's the goal they so desperately wanted! It's only Paul Kane's 4th goal of the season. How valuable could this one be? And the word going around the ground. Kilmarnock have drawn 1-1 at Ibrox. It's Brian Irvin's header, clutched under the crossbar by Alan Main. And if St Johnstone can hold out and win this match, they will go into Europe. The word is filtering around the ground. Lots of supporters listening to BBC Radio Scotland. That's full time. St Johnstone are back in Europe.
At the final whistle, players and supporters joined together in celebration. The long wait was over. There would be no looking back to the past. St Johnstone were where they belonged, contenders in Europe.
Well, I think first and foremost was the financial gain for some of the players. I think that was well publicised. But no, I think it hadn't quite sunk in, till later on in the week that we're actually qualified for Europe, And the thing for me was looking around and seeing faces that have been St Johnstone supporters for years, long before my time, and people actually in tears was incredible. And that'll live me for a long time as well. Delighted for them.
If you take it the Premier League in Scotland, there's 10 teams. You've got 2 teams who have got incredible financial backing. The other 8 have got no right to compete with on a league basis over a period of a year. So you can take it the League of 8, we were the winners. It was a really tremendous achievement. And I think it took 2 or 3 days to sink in, to be honest with you. Because we certainly had a wee tour of Perth after the game, and we took in 1 or 2 places, and we had a really good and enjoyable night.
The moment for me was when I scored the winning goal, not so much the actual goal, but when I ran away to go to the dugout, I seen the gaffer, but not so much the gaffer. I seen our club doctor, Alistair McCracken, and I've never seen a guy go so wild in his life. And he's a true St Johnstone man, and that picture will live in my memory, because that's what it meant to the guy. And if you're a true St Johnstone person, that night it's shown home to me what it means. And then after the occasion, you see like Stuart Duff, Stuart the director, and Stuart the managing director. Those have been St Johnstone people all their life, what it means to them, and that's the things that'll stick in my memory, because they've always wanted that kind of thing, and it was great as it is to be part of the team and play a part of it.
You can't predict the future, but whatever happens in the history of St Johnstone FC, the squad of 1998 to 1999 will be remembered as one of the greatest teams in the club's long and memorable history. Go on, you Saints.